Today you will hear the testimony of Esther Wilsi, 4 years into the spousal sponsorship application process.
So my name is Esther Wilsi. I got married September 2017. So I met my husband in November 2016. And as soon as I came back to Canada in October 2017, I sent the paperwork for the spousal sponsorship. And we waited because I said 12 months, and this is the first time we're doing it. So for us, we have to wait a maximum of 12 months to get an answer. So we waited. And finally, in June 2018, I couldn't wait anymore. So I went to see him, hoping that we get an answer and come back. And eventually in September, when we didn't hear anything back, I sent them an email wondering what was going on. That's when we found out that, anyway, they said that they sent back the document because there was missing document. So, which I never received. So basically the document got lost. One of the documents missing was my employer letter. And because I'm an electrician and I'm part of a union, even to get a mortgage, like I used the union letter, which was included in the package. So they said that they consider that as my prior letter. And my husband part, like his parents, where they were born, wasn't there. We forgot to put it. And so it was a couple of stuff. So anyway, we never received the documents. So in November 2018, I sent back a new file. And because I had just come from visiting my husband, I was on the EI. And at the time I had 2 rental properties. So I showed EI and the rental properties as my income at the time and explained that I just came from visiting my husband. So I'm in the trade. I show my previous income that was like 90,000 or 90,000 the previous year. So I'm just waiting to get back to work. And so that was fine. And eventually in July 2019, we still didn't hear anything back. So I sent them a letter like, what's going on? We sent since November, when July is still not here. And within 2 weeks, they approved me and they're like, no, you're fine. And they sent the letter and all that. And they sent this document to Accra. So for us, well, we have another 3-4 months before we can be reunited in Canada. And but unfortunately, in October, we went to give his biometric. It got lost again in the system. November gave it a second time. And since then, since November 2019, we heard nothing, no updates about his file. Until in December 2020, I came back to Ivory Coast to visit him. And I kept sending email, and I always send email to the Accra embassy. I always send them email to know what's happening. So I kept sending them email, and eventually I sent an email to another embassy in Turkey. I started sending email randomly without a file number. I'm like, maybe they move a file to another consulate embassy, right? And then transfer to Accra. And that only at the moment, Accra answered me that he's in queue for an interview. And they didn't say what, they didn't say anything. You're just in queue for an interview. I'm like, do you have any expected date? Because I'm visiting him, nothing. Then there was mute. After that, they never replied to any of my email. So when I went back to Canada in July 2021, I went to see my MP. Really nice, really kind. And they asked, and that's when I find out that he's in queue for an interview because he has a son who was born in April 2017. And so he raised concern, and also that our file took longer because I moved out of Canada to live with my husband, which never happened. It's happening now, but at the time it never happened. So, and then my income, that I didn't have enough income, but immigration IRCC never contacted me asking me a proof of income. I've never been contacted to for anything extra, asking if I was back to work, but I had to rent properties, like I said also. So that's a bit of my story. So this year we decided to see what's really important for us because we have been married for 4 years. I'm 38 years old. We want to start a family eventually. So we decided that the most important things at the moment is for us to be together. Like, he's a civil engineer, he speaks French, he speaks English, he's bilingual, and he lives here in Ivory Coast, and he works, he's well paid. So we decided the best at the moment is for us to be together because emotionally it's not going well for both of us. So we decided that the best, because he cannot go to Canada. was for me to move here and stay with him and start planning our future together, having a family and all that. And for me, maybe to find something to do and stay here. I don't know where to begin. Like I said, I'm an electrician. I talk about the money part because it's huge. Like financially, I don't know. I make about $6,000 take home per month. So when I was calculating with my husband in total, I spent about 14 months with my husband. So anyway, when we did the math, it was about we spent 18 months together. So it was about $108,000 that I didn't have in my pocket while visiting my husband. And emotionally, I became like this crying baby, right? I never used to cry that much. Anything like I can go to a party with a friend and I'm like, oh, I need to take a picture to send to my husband to show him where I am, or we do a video. And that just make me cry because I'm like, my friend are here with their husband, or even if they're not married, they're here because they're single, they're alone. But here I am married, but still being single, or my friend having babies. And I'm so scared. Like anytime I come visit my husband, like maybe we should start having a family. Like, no, I don't want to be a single mom, married single mom in Canada. I cannot do that. I'm emotional already like a wreck. I don't want a child to be part of that. So it delayed a lot in our life. I mean, it's like 4 years. 4 years of us not being together, not planning our life together. Him working in a different country, myself, having to quit my job several times to come visit him. Because for me, there's no way I spent 12 months without seeing my husband. Then we're not married. I don't care how financially you break me or anything, but emotionally, I'd rather be healthy emotionally than like focusing on the financial part and like losing my sanity. So it delayed everything in our life. You know, it could have been in Canada already, have like, I don't know if anyone went back to school or have a job, being like, you know, being really like a family, being really a couple, contributing together. But 4 years of that. And eventually I'm forced as a Canadian citizen. I'm forced. During COVID, December 2020, I was so scared they're going to shut down the airport. I quit my job and I came to visit him and I stayed for 7 months because I'm like, I'm not going back there. I don't want to be locked down. No, I can't do that again. And I went back and things are going crazy again. I'm like, no, I just can't. I just can't not be in Canada at this moment, no. Second, we have been married for over 3 years. You ask for no proof at all to see, are we still together? How is our life? Or was it like just a fake marriage and we stopped talking to each other? So there's no proof asked. There's no consideration that it's almost like he wasn't allowed to go out with any women before meeting me. You know, that's not reality. That's not even life in Canada, right? So I don't see where the file is complex. It's not, if we were like, we knew each other and then he got pregnant, yeah, you know, but we didn't even know each other. And I explained, really, you know, the application can explain how we met each other. We're not in a love relationship before we saw each other. So I don't see why having a child, it could have been me having a child before we got married, before we met each other, you know, because we don't know. So I don't see what make it complex. If having a child before meeting someone you fall in love with and get married if it's a problem, boy, you know, we all have to stay virgin before getting married.
Yes.
I almost found myself, you know, when I moved to Canada, a really nice, welcoming country. And I experienced racism, not necessarily because of my color or anything, but racism because of where my husband is from. You know, to then look as him being a human being, myself being a human being. People travel all over the world, met someone, fell in love. They didn't ask a question about that, but they flag it, someone that doesn't make any sense. So I almost feel like it's more about racism. It's like you're from a certain country, we have to look closely to it. Like European won't do any fake marriage, American won't do fake marriage, or South American won't do fake marriage. Everywhere people fall in love and they fall out of love. One marriage out of two fall out, like end up in divorce in Canada. No, it's not a country we sent where no one gets divorced and they're scared that you go in there and get divorced. One out of two fall out of love. If they truly, truly care about Canadian, maybe have counselor to cancel Canadian before they get married. You know, so there'll be less divorce. when people fall in love, it's no one's business to go and be like, prove to me that your marriage is right. At the time, we asked for the third temporary visa for my husband. September 14 is our wedding anniversary. So we're getting close to September 14. We're still not getting any answer from see if he could come visit me or not. And we came out of the lockdown, it's 2020. And I'm like, if I stay home and I spend my wedding anniversary alone, my third year wedding anniversary alone, like, I don't know if I will be able to survive it. So the best things I think to celebrate my wedding anniversary was to fly to Toronto and protest in front of his office on my wedding anniversary.
Minister of Immigration Sean Fraser, Premier Justin Trudeau, and the Liberals, please stand by your values by welcoming immigrants. As Canadians, as married couples and children, we shouldn't be apart for any period of time. We are asking that you acknowledge the backlog and process outland applications before new ones.